वीडियो को हिंदी में देखने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक पर क्लिक करें। हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू GTC classes. In this video, we are going to discuss the key concepts, the standard symbols, basic terminologies and the formulas of the chapter. We are also going to solve a few representative examples. The most important part of the video is the discussion of the critical areas where most students lose their marks. So it would be a good thing if you note down those mistakes and make sure that you don't commit them. All the theorems of this chapter, circles, has been categorized under 5 headings. The headings are chord properties, arc properties, angle properties, cyclic properties and tangent properties. Out of these 5, the 2 chord properties and arc properties have been covered in class 9, and in class 10 we'll be covering angle properties, cyclic properties and tangent properties. Out of these 3, there has been certain reductions in tangent properties, but the angle properties and cyclic properties have remained intact. There has been no reductions in these properties. Angle properties has 3 basic theorems. The first theorem is the angle subtended by an arc of a circle at the center is double the angle subtended by it on the remaining part of the circle. First thing you need to remember is the theorem word by word. So every theorem you have to remember them word by word, and whenever you are using the particular theorem, you have to write the theorem exactly as it is. You cannot use any shortcut like I have written theorem number 1. No, you cannot do that. Secondly, in geometry, specifically in circles, it is best if you remember things by your vision. If you can observe and identify that which theorem should be applied. Else it will take a lot of time for you to recognize the particular theorem. So therefore it is always better to see the figures as they are. So in this particular theorem, there are 4 types of figures. If you can easily recognize them, that would become very easy for you. Like in the first theorem, you can see in the first figure, you can see there is a hill over a hill. So if you see a hill over a hill, then you can feel that I must apply theorem number 1. So you can give it a shot and it might work. Similarly, here you can see both the hills are having a same slope. Similarly, here there are 2 hills side by side, and here it's a quadrilateral where one vertex is at the center and the other 3 vertex are at the circumference. So if you remember these points, it becomes much easier to apply the theorem. Here, the theorem states the angle subtended by an arc of the circle. So if the arc is the BC arc, then we can say that the angle subtended by it at the center is angle BOC is double. So it is twice of x. If something is x, what is x? Double the angle subtended by it on the remaining part of the circle. Remaining part of the circle means the circumference, nothing other than the circumference. So therefore, if this arc subtends the angle at the circumference, like this angle, x, then we can say that if this is x, then this is 2x. So you have to remember it. Angle subtended at the center is double the angle subtended it at the circumference. If you remember this, it is easier to write. Similarly, here you can see that if this is x, this is 2x. The best way to remember is use your fingers or pens. So I use it like this. If I am focusing on this angle, angle x, I can see that it is made using 2 points B and C. And if there is another angle B and C, if there is another angle subtended by the arc B and C from this point, then I can see that this angle will be double the first angle. So therefore, angle BOC will be double the angle BAC. Same to same thing you can see here. So therefore, if you stretch your fingers in this way, you can see that angle subtended by the arc at the center is twice the angle subtended by it at the circumference. Same to same thing you can see, angle subtended by an arc at the center is twice the angle subtended it by at the circumference. So if this is x, this will be 2x. Here it is a bit difficult to remember in this way. So therefore, we remember that if this is x, then the reflex part of the angle will be 2x. Not the inside, the reflex part will be 2x. And the second theorem states that angles in the same segment of a circle are equal. What do you mean by same segment? Same segment means when a chord is drawn, then it divides the circle into 2 segments. So if both the angles are made in the same segment, that means this and this. So if you see two hills starting from the same point, I remember it this way. If there are two hills which start from the same chord or same base, if you see the base, then these two angles will be equal. Why are they equal? It is very easy, because you can see if I draw a center here, O. So if this is x, then this will be 2x using theorem 1. And if this is 2x, this will be x, again using theorem 1. So if I remove the center and do not consider it, then I can see that these angles are same. The statement is very short. Angles in the same segment of a circle are equal. So it's a very short statement. Similarly, in the third theorem, angle in a semicircle is a right angle. So you can see, if this is the angle in a semicircle and this is x, then this angle should be 2x using the first theorem. And if this is 2x, we already know this is 180 degree. So therefore this has to be 90 degree. So we can say that angle in a semicircle is always 90 degree. So therefore if you any time see a diameter AB that is passing through the center, and there are two lines which subtend an angle at the circumference from the ends of the diameter, then that particular angle will always be 90 degree. The theorems are very easy to recognize. We'll do a few sums later so that you'll be able to recognize them. But the most important part is focus on the diagrams. These, if you can recognize the figure in your complex diagram, then it becomes very easy and very easy to apply. And also you have to remember the statement, because that is what you have to write properly. Cyclic quadrilateral is a quadrilateral which has all the four vertices on the circumference of the circle. So if a quadrilateral has all the four vertices on the circumference of the circle, then only it is called a cyclic quadrilateral. And a cyclic quadrilateral obviously commands two theorems of cyclic properties. So the first theorem is the sum of either pair of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is 180 degree. So either pair of opposite angles. So if I take this angle, then the other pair will be this angle. So if I add these two angles, then I'll get a sum of 180 degree. Similarly, if I have one angle as angle D, then the other angle will be angle B. So if I add angle B and angle D, then I will get 180 degree. So if I know one angle of a cyclic quadrilateral, then I can calculate the other opposite angle and it becomes much easier. Similar, and the second theorem is an exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to its interior opposite angle. So what is an exterior angle? If you extend one side of a quadrilateral to outside and produce it, suppose to E, then the angle formed outside the quadrilateral is called exterior angle. So the exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to its interior. So this is the interior angle, opposite angle. So this angle. So therefore if this angle is x, then this angle will also be x. Obviously this will not be x. Its interior opposite angle. So its interior angle is angle C and the opposite to angle C is angle A. So I can say angle DAB is equals to angle BCE. So the reason is the exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to its interior opposite angle. The points that are of the vertices of the cyclic quadrilateral, if any 4 points are on the circumference of a circle, then we call those points as concyclic points. And the quadrilateral formed by those points is called a cyclic quadrilateral. So differentiate between the meaning. The points are called concyclic points and the quadrilateral is called cyclic quadrilateral. This year, after further reductions, there are only 3 theorems in the tangent properties. The other theorems have been scraped off. The theorems are, the first theorem is the tangents and the radius of a circle are perpendicular to each other at the point of contact. A tangent is a line which touches the circle at one point only. So this is the point C where the tangent AB touches the circle, and if a radius is drawn, that is OC is drawn, then we can say that the angle between the radius and the tangent is 90 degree. That is a right angle. The second theorem states if two tangents are drawn from an external point to a circle. So here PA and PB are the two tangents. in this particular theorem, we consider the length of the tangent to end at B only. We do not consider the tangent if extended further. So we will consider only PB and PA, not further. Then the lengths of the tangents are equal. That simply means PA is equals to PB. The tangents subtend equal angles at the center. So the tangents subtend equal angles. So if you stretch your finger from A to O and P to O, then you get this angle. And similarly, if you subtend the angle from the tangent PB, then you get this angle. And these two angles will be equal. So the angle subtended by the tangent at the center will be equal. The tangents are equally inclined to the line joining the point of contact and the center of the circle. The line joining the point of contact and the center of circle is OP. So the tangents are equally inclined, meaning they make the same angle with OP. So therefore AP and OP make the angle OPA, and PB and OP make the angle BPA. So therefore these two angles are equal in length. So therefore the angles are equal. I do not prefer remembering these two theorems directly. I prefer using congruency to solve them. Like I can say PA is equals to PB because the length of tangents are equal when the tangents are drawn from an external point. I can say that OA is equals to OB because they are radius and OP is the common side. So by using SSS, condition for congruency, I can prove that these two triangles are congruent, and similarly I can use these two angles are equal as CPCT. That becomes much easier for me to write. But if you can remember the theorems word by word, you can use them. There is no problem in there. The third theorem states, if a line touches a circle, so a line touching a circle is basically a tangent. Here we have taken PAQ as the tangent, and from the point of contact, so A is the point of contact, a chord is drawn. So let us assume there are two chords here. Let us assume AB is the chord. So between the angle between the tangent and the chord is equal to the angle in the corresponding alternate segment. So if I consider the angle between the tangent and the chord, that means angle PAB, then it will be equal to the angle that is subtended by this chord at the circumference of the circle. So therefore angle PAB is equals to angle ACB. Similarly, if you take the chord as AC, then this will be the angle considered between the tangent and the chord. So if you see that this chord subtends an angle at B, so then these two angles will be equal. A good part about this theorem is you do not have to memorize the whole theorem. You can write it in short, angles in alternate segment. So you do not have to memorize the whole theorem. You just need to understand its application and simply write angles in alternate segment as the reason. In the adjoining figure, AD is the diameter of a circle with center O. If AD is parallel to BC and angle CBD is equals to 32 degree, find subpart 1 angle OBD, subpart 2 angle AOB, subpart 3 angle BED. First thing we do is copy the diagram and write what is given in the question. So in the question it is given that AD is parallel to BC. So AD here is parallel to BC and angle CBD equals to 32 degree. So angle CBD equals to 32 degree. And I have to find angle OBD. So to find angle OBD, I first see that since these are parallel, AD and BC, then I can see that angle ADB is equals to angle DBC or CBD, that is alternate interior angle. You can see a Z forming here. So therefore I can state that this angle is also equal to 32 degree. So angle OBD equals to angle CBD, that is equals to 32 degree. The reason is alternate interior angles. I have a lack of space here, so therefore I have written it a little below. You can write it on the same line. Now in triangle OBD, in this triangle OBD, you can see that OD and OB are equal because they are the radii of the same circle. So radius, radii. So in triangle OBD, you can see that angle ODB and angle OBD will be equal. Angles opposite to equal sides are equal. So therefore the angle opposite to OD is equal to the angle opposite to OB. Therefore angle OBD is also 32 degree. That is the answer. The first part asked me to find angle OBD. I have found it. Now in the second part we are asked to find angle AOB. So if you see that this is the angle subtended by the arc at the center and the name of the arc is arc AB. So if I see that this is the arc AB and I extend my hands, the fingers to the circumference, I can see that angle ADB is also formed by this arc. So therefore angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. So I can say angle AOB is equals to twice angle ODB, that is equals to 2 into 32 degree, that is 64 degree. So we'll write the angle subtended by an arc of a circle at the center is double the angle subtended by it on the remaining part of the circle. You have to memorize the theorem by heart. So therefore angle AOB equals to 64 degree. Answer. In the third part I have been asked to find angle BED. So if I see that angle BED, so if I stretch my fingers to BD and stretch it back to A, I can see that there are two hills which have the same base. Therefore angle BED must be equal to angle BAD. That should be obvious. Reason must be angles in the same segment. But I do not know the value of angle BAD. So first I have to calculate angle BAD. In triangle BAD, I know the value of angle ADB and I can see that angle ABD is formed by two ends of the diameter. So therefore this must be 90 degree. So angle ABD equals to 90 degree. Reason, angle in a semicircle is a right angle. So therefore now in the triangle I know two angles. I can calculate the third angle using angle sum property. So angle BAD plus angle ABD plus angle ADB equals to 180 degree. Reason, angle sum property of a triangle. So I'll substitute the values of ABD and ADB and transpose it to the other side. So I get angle BAD equals to 180 minus 122 degree, that is 58 degree. And since angle BAD is equal to angle BED, reason, angle in the same segment are equal, therefore angle BED is also equals to 58 degree. So what matters, I could have done this sum using a few different methods. It is possible. You could have found angle BED using angle BOD. Also there are other ways, I am not denying it. But what matters is which is the shortest? No. What matters is whichever strikes to you first. So if a certain method, which is a longer method, strikes to you first, use that method in the exam. Do not worry about other methods. Yes, there could have been possibly shorter methods, but it is best whichever strikes you first, that is the most important method for you. The critical areas where you need to be very careful in this chapter are, the first thing you need to do is you should draw a diagram, and the diagram should always be drawn using a pencil only. So use a pencil and scale. Do not draw it freehand. Use a compass to draw a circle. Do not completely draw freehandedly. Also, you have to start the question by writing given. So whatever it is given in the question, you should write it so that if you use it in future, you can just write given. Also, since there are no proving sums this year, they have been reduced. We have only numerical problems in this year's syllabus. So therefore, we have no problem in we do not have to write RTP. But if there was sums based on proving, then you had to write required to prove. So you should have write given and RTP. And if you construct anything, you should write construction as well. The most important thing in this chapter is writing the reasons correctly. So if you missed writing the reason, the statement becomes invalid and you lose marks on those particular statements. And automatically, you lose quite a lot of marks. And you have to write the theorems properly. You cannot use shortcuts for the theorems. You have to memorize them and write them properly. And obviously, you should not forget which implies and equal to's. They are always important. Teacher do cut mark on these things. Also, whenever required, use the name of the angle as a 3-letter name. Always. Until and unless it is given in the question that angle A equals to something. So if the question states the name of the angle as a one letter name, only then we can use the name as one letter name only for that particular angle. Other than that, every angle should have always a three letter name. That is the proper name for the angle. In the given circle with center O, angle ABC equals to 100 degree, angle ACD equals to 40 degree, and CT is a tangent to the circle at C. Find angle ADC and angle DCT. First thing we do is copy the diagram and write what is given, that is angle ABC equals to 100 degree and angle ACD equals to 40 degree. Now I have to calculate angle ADC, that is this angle. So if I see that A, B, C, D are all points on the circle, therefore ABCD must be a cyclic quadrilateral, and we know that the sum of either pair of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is 180 degree. Therefore angle ADC plus angle ABC must be equal to 180 degree, and we already know the value of angle ABC. So we substitute the value of angle ABC, we get angle ADC plus 100 degree equals to 180 degree, which means angles ADC equals to 180 minus 100, that is 80 degree. Now to calculate the other angle, that is angle DCT. If you see that the DCT is the angle formed between the tangent and the chord. So if it is formed between a tangent and a chord, and the angle formed by the chord at the circumference is angle CAD, therefore angle DCT must equal angle CAD. That is, reason is angle in alternate segment. But I do not know the value of angle CAD. Therefore to calculate value of angle CAD, I'll use angle sum property, because this angle is already known. So that is 80 degree. So in triangle ACD, angle CAD plus angle ADC plus angle ACD equals to 180 degree. Reason, angle sum property of a triangle. So therefore angle CAD will be 180 minus 120 degree, that is 60 degree. Therefore angle DCT will also be 60 degree. Reason, angles in the alternate segment. If the video was helpful, please hit the like button and also share it with your friends so that it can reach to the maximum number of people. If you still have any confusion with the chapter, or you have certain sums that you are not able to solve, do comment them below so that I can help you with them. If you want to support me or the channel, please hit the icon and subscribe the channel. Do not forget to click the bell icon so that you never miss our updates.